So I saw this game on Steam and I thought I'd check it out, and this is my experience with it. Hello everybody, this is DTM Panda here. Just so you know, this is a disclaimer that this is my first scripted ever review. So bear in mind, some parts from the video will be very scuffed, some parts will be very edited so much that I don't know how to do scripted reviews. But bear in mind and enjoy the video. Bye. Return to Enen is a Zen-like open-world PvE survival game, where you focus on surviving the harsh world of Enen, which, from what I gathered, is a massive island in the middle of nowhere. The island has many creatures, both neutral and hostile, but mostly neutral for the majority of your time in the game. The game was released on the 1st of April 2022, with developer Ed West and publisher Freedom Games. The controls are fluid to a certain degree, while most games are controlled by the WASD, X or C to shift click, and spacebar to jump. While using the mouse to look around, this game uses the same mechanic, except that you now have quantum control, which replaces the pickaxe or axes in most open world survival games. This mechanic is used to gather up meat or resources like gemstone or clay. This mechanic also lets you destroy built up structures with minimum resources gathered back, so watch where you build your little shelter. The controls and other settings can be altered to your preference within the settings GUI. The gameplay is easy to understand if you have played an open world survival game before, but if you haven't, then here's a quick rundown. What is a survival game? Is it like Stranded Deep, Sea of Thieves, or like Green L? Well, in Return to Enen, the survival mechanics are what you need to survive the hardcore world of Enen. In the bottom right hand corner are some stats. This is what you need to look out for every time you load up a new game of Enen. If your health bar drops to 0, then you're dead, and you have to either restart from scratch or load up a previous save point to learn to survive the game with more efficiency. You have other stats as well, like the hunger, the thirst, and the spirit. They all be pretty much the same thing, except that the thirst requires you to drink, safe to eat, got that one. Safe to drink liquids, either from a cooking pot or fresh water from the island. Bear in mind, if you do drink fresh water from the island, you have a small chance of getting a disease from it. So it's not recommended, but if you have to, make sure you're prepared with preparing some medicine to cure that disease. Otherwise, it'll be really bad for you. I died from it like once or twice, so. But yeah. And then you have the hunger stat. The hunger stat is also self-explanatory, where you have to eat to survive. If you don't eat and you ignore it, you'll slowly die. That's just fact. That's life. If you don't do this, then you're just an idiot. The spirit stat is basically what's your stamina. If that goes down to 0, you won't be able to sprint, you won't be able to mine resources, and over time your health will slowly go to 0. And then you have diseases like paragon and toxic venom when you get bitten by a snake. There are some hostile creatures in this game, by the way. There's from what I saw, there's wolves, snakes, and a bear. I've not actually came across a bear, so I don't know what it's like, or a wolf. But the snakes are little shits. The snakes are little shits. That's all I'm going to say about that. Apart from the stats, the game is beautiful and amazing to take in. The ray tracing in the sun, shining through the thick, lustful jungle is amazing. And the night cycle is top notch. When at night, you can hardly see anything in the game. Like literally, it's pitch black, you can't be able to see it. You maybe be able to see if you turn your brightness up, but in reality, it's supposed to be dark. You won't be able to see it unless you have a torch or a fire going. The animals and plants or food are everywhere in great detail. There are bananas, there are fruits, there are potatoes, eggs, mushrooms, there's lizards, so many animals and fruits and food in the game. It's like a bit underrated, like a bit overwhelming at first. But the game is amazing to play, so I recommended it for anyone who's like open world survival games. Overall, the game mechanics does need a little bit more polishing up, as they are very tedious when placing it on the ground. For example, when I'm building something like a wooden foundation or a basic shelter, it really is really difficult for the first time figuring out how to rotate that item. In my first 2 hours, I didn't even know how to do it. Yeah. In my next session, this is from Metal with Gordon, probably on today, on the 6th of August 2022. I only found out that the middle scroll mouse button is what you use to rotate an item. I mean, in most survival games, it's either when you place it on the ground, you can either choose Q or E to rotate it. I mean, there's other methods as well, but like the arrow keys or something like that. That literally prompt on you on the GUI where you can do that. In this game, it doesn't do that. You have to figure it out yourself. It's a trial and error type progress, which makes it really hard to learn to play the game. But with trial and error, with a lot of death, a lot of issues with it, I'm sure you guys can play this game with expertise. Now, in order to progress in the game, you must find ancient ruins, where you can meditate for a long time to progress your spirit, your stamina, and become all in the world of Enen, which in return grants you rewards like leveling up, to grant you more perks, like leveling up more items you can build, or I don't know. It's like it gives you more stuff to do, more content to play around with. I also, from a tip in the game, this can't be disabled. I tried, I looked for it. I wish you can disable the tips, because tutorials and getting told what to do is quite annoying every time you load up a game. But once you're up to level 3, you can fast travel back to your own base. This can be handy in a pinch, but what is the cost of that? Do you lose stats, or is it just a free gesture from the devs? I won't know this because I haven't got that far yet in my 4-hour gameplay, which you can find on my twitch.tv/DTM_Panda. I'll put the link in the description down below, and also in this review at the end of this review, if you get this far. That's been said, this game is fun to play, although I just wish I could play with friends, or make the world a little bit less conflicted with any other content to play. For example, grinding for 2 hours is really boring, but if you have a goal in mind, for example, build a house, like to survive from the night from predators, then it can be a very fun, inducing challenge. Apart from that, the game is amazing. I have hardly any issues with it, except for when you have the pin notion on the website GUI to actually know what you're looking for and how to do it. Sometimes it cancels on you and you have to redo it again. When you're surviving or trying to survive for the first time, it's really tedious because if you're looking for something like word sticks, dead bushes, or anything like that, it can make it a life-threatening situation where you need to look for a plant or look for some type of animal or some type of item for you to survive better. But apart from that, the game is amazing. It feels amazing. It's a good game. I highly recommend it to anyone who is like open world survival games. Bear that in mind, there are meditation reasons. I think the game is mostly towards the meditation, zen type feel, the vibes, the relaxing type vibes. Because I gotta be honest, the sound and the music in the game are top notch. Like, wow. For a game of like £15, it's a steal. It is a steal. So it's a hidden gem. That offer will not last, by the way. The time of this recording, it will probably be back at like the full price. But other than that, it is a good game. I highly recommend it.